Hello everyone and welcome to this training video in which we will see some of the autopilot features of the Airbus H145. Now I won't be able to show everything in the same video because it will be either confusing, most probably, or it will make the video too long, so I will be explaining them little by little. So in today's video what we are going to see is just the basic functionalities like altitude hold, heading hold, and airspeed, and then we will do a direct flight back to the airport. Okay, now I would highly recommend you having key bindings for those features, and as much as possible. Now there are lots of things that you can map for this helicopter. It's very exhaustive. So why I want to stress on having key bindings is that it makes the flying much more immersive rather than having to look down and then use your mouse. Okay, some of those things you can, but actually when you have key bindings it's much better. And also here you have the trim, cyclic beep trim, okay, which you will use here. Let me just explain. Once you will have the for example airspeed hold, okay, you will use the up and down trim to increase or decrease the airspeed. You will use roll left and right trim to change the heading, and on the collective also you have a collective beep trim, okay. Here you will be only using the up and down to change the altitude. In another mode you will be also able to use left and right, and we will talk about this in the video where we will be demonstrating this feature. So here also it's good to have your trim, cyclic trim, mapped up, down, left, right, and collective trim up, down, left, right too, even if in this video we are going to be just using the up and down. Okay, and once we are in the air we will be able to demonstrate better the things I'm talking about. So here already, if you want to set a certain altitude, okay, you're going to be using Alt A.
Alt A crossing. Alt A crossing.
Okay, just make sure. There it is. So just or I can use my key bindings. Just put around 6,000 like this. There it is. Okay, so we'll take off and then fly to that altitude, and we'll be also demonstrating the other functions. Of course, I've started up the helicopter based on the startup procedure I already shown in a previous video. So here, no messages, and ready for takeoff. So same thing here. Press and hold trim release. Release collective. There you go. Take off. Just randomly flying, not necessarily to a specific destination here. Okay, let's take off in this direction. And there it is. Okay, so now I will activate Alt A. There it is. It's climbing to whatever altitude I've selected. Of course, I have key bindings, but if you want, you can use these buttons here. Let me go for the airspeed. Okay, it will capture whatever airspeed it was at, and let's also do for the heading. Okay, but having as you see here, having key bindings, it's much easier. Now while it's climbing to 6,200, okay, let's set the speed. Let's say we want 80. We can use the knob here, or on the cyclic beep trim, if you trim down. You see what it's doing here? That triangle here is going down. There it is. And if ever it's going below what is displayed here, you will have the value displayed above. So if you want to increase the pre-selected airspeed, there it is. Okay, now for the heading, I hope you will be able to see. Now you're still going to use the cyclic beam trim, except that this time it's going to be left and right, and obviously left to move, you can see the green triangle here, and right to move it right. Okay, so you don't have to use those knobs. And has already captured the altitude. Now for the collective beam trim, if you want to increase or decrease the altitude up, of course it will increase. Let's say we will put it to 6,100. So I'm just moving it up, and you can see the triangle moving up, and this alone will make the helicopter climb to that altitude. Very important. You don't have to activate Alt A or VS or whatever. Okay, and did capture, and then we will descend. I can also start to turn to the right there. And as you can see, when you are manipulating one of the autopilot modes, it will turn yellow, and when it's green, it has captured it. Okay, so as you can see, just moving the bug here. Yeah, I'm gonna decrease it to 6,000. Okay, just doing that, and the helicopter will descend. And remember, we have a speed of 85 something here, but we maintain the airspeed. Okay, let's stabilize this. Now let's say we want to fly to, if I use the knob, okay, it's only pre-selecting, okay, and then when I activate Alt A, it will climb. Okay, and here same thing, using a vertical speed. Okay, so here it is, heading VS. So you can set it to climb or descend. But look at what it is here, 6,600. This is just the usual autopilot that you do, okay, to increase the climb rate or not. But here, if I move the, you can see here, 7,000. Okay, still moving, still moving. There it is. Okay, now it's no longer going to capture whatever altitude I selected here. It will keep tracking that bug. Okay, so just be careful if you set an altitude and then for some reason you are also using the collective beam trim up and down, it will kind of capture whatever you're setting here. Okay. Now, for whatever reason, let's say there's an obstacle, or you just need to make some changes here, and you want to hand fly the helicopter. Look at what is displayed here: Alt, heading, and IAS. Okay, in green. I'm not gonna press the trim release button. Okay, I'm just moving cyclic. Okay, whatever is being affected will be displayed in yellow. Okay, and that's not the proper way to do it. Okay, if you try to recapture whatever heading, altitude it was. Okay, and And as you can see, lots of stuff's going on here. So what's the proper way of doing it? Trim release. Override here, and then lower collective. Now something that you won't notice is that you won't be fighting with the helicopter when you press the trim release button, but when you will be actually flying the helicopter in your simulator, you will find that if you don't press trim release, you will need to fight. Like here, it's not fighting. I ask him to turn, or her to turn. Helicopter is her for me. And then if I want her to climb, there it is, not finding. And then let's say I avoided the obstacle, wherever I release the trim release, it will by itself recapture whatever heading, airspeed it was programmed at previously. Okay, there are other modes which we will talk in a later video. So here, of course, you have map. I will let you kind of play around. Everything is described in the manual, how to get GTN 750 or whatever it's called. But here we are just going to do a direct to. Okay? Direct to, select waypoint, and here touch screen you just tap FAWB in our case. Okay, and enter. Confirm. Okay, and activate. Okay, now you have the how to say this, the flight plan here, and now you need to select the proper mode here, FMS, ILS, ILS2. In our case it's going to be FMS, and we press couple. Okay, green, it means it's going to be following it, and as you can see it switched to nav by itself. So now we are just letting the helicopter fly towards Wonderboom here, and I will also be increasing my altitude, still using the, this time remember, collective beep trim. So to sum it up, collective beep trim down to select a lower altitude, collective beep trim up to select a higher altitude. Now cyclic beep trim up to increase airspeed, cyclic beep trim down to decrease airspeed, and then cyclic beep trim left to choose a heading, to move the heading back to the left. But here, because on nav mode, it's not going to work. I already demonstrated it before. And cyclic beep trim to the right to move the heading back to the right. Okay, so now let's decrease our altitude. So as I say, when the bug is out of sight here, it will display the altitude or the airspeed at here. Okay, so now just hold. I can see it's doing it in increment of 10. Before, when I was on the ground and I kind of used the knob, was I believe an increment of 100 or whatever, but here let's put it to 5, 6. Traffic pattern altitude. Okay, and let's say we want now to capture that current in altitude. Same thing here. Alt. There it is. It will capture the altitude you are at. So some of the features are like the autopilot you're used to. Others like using the beep trim, cyclic beep trim, collective beep trim. Just make sure you know which beep trim does what. Cyclic up down for airspeed, left right for heading, and collective beep trim up down for altitude. and left right we will do it when we will be covering this mode here, CRHT. Okay, now we're just heading back to the airport. You have the information here. Of course, if you have a flight plan, you will have your flight plan. Okay, your waypoint, 3 minutes, track, distance, etc. And here, of course, you can zoom in and out, and whichever display you prefer. Okay, zoom in, zoom out. And you can also use the tablet in case you need it, especially for missions, which we will be covering one by one, the various variants of the helicopter. And once again, it's good to have key bindings because then it makes so many things so much easier. So here, about to reach the airport, so lowering our altitude to 46, and to disengage autopilot, actually I believe it's this switch. You flip it down. I've already mapped based more or less based on the actual helicopter. Once again, you do the mapping based on your devices. So the castle switch, I will just flip it down and we disengage all the autopilot modes. Just read the manual to know how to correctly assign. So here, as you can see here, okay, direct to 1 the boom at NWB, and that's where we are going. Okay, so now disengage autopilot. Still, like already explained in the previous video, when hand flying, I have my finger pressing the trim release, and I won't let it go as long as I'm manually flying the helicopter, and just head back to the helipad and land. The key here is to properly map switches, buttons, keys. Once it's done, you have a very nice time flying this helicopter. Even if it's clearly explained in the manual how to map the keys and buttons properly, if need be, I might make a video on the subject. I can even show you my key bindings, but since I'm sometimes changing them, so it won't be necessarily up to date. There it is, and you do have your red alt 14. There it is. It's a very, very easy helicopter to fly. For missions and all, very nice. There it is. We've completed a little demonstration about some of the autopilot features, especially when you have the autopilot modes on. Okay, how you can use the cyclic beep trim and the collective beep trim. Okay, to change your airspeed, altitude and heading. And in future videos we will be, of course, discussing the other features, including how to create a flight plan, how to do ILS approaches, viewer navigation, and all that kind of thing, auto hover, etc, etc. So I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in another video. Until then, take care. Bye bye.